So, sehr vorbildlich. Welcome to session 1. I try not to be pressured by any time, but we are here, so now we take our time to say what is meant to be said. The headline of session 1 is Critical Initiatives by Emerging Artists. I'm very happy that Tümay Kılınçel and Zwoisy Mears-Clarke are my two guests for this first session. The questions of session 1 are all in your leaflet. I will not read them out loud because you can all see they are very profoundly formulated, I think. So please have a look what it is all about. I want to start the session by introducing you, Tümay. You studied dance at HZT and you also did a master for performance and choreography in Gießen. But then you also went to different countries to get trained in dance in Nigeria, Turkey, India, and Egypt. And for me, this made already clear that you have a deep interest in other dance traditions, other ways of dancing. Since 2010, you are a freelance artist working in Berlin, Frankfurt, and Düsseldorf. And you worked for a lot of different places like Tanz in Vienna, Pack-Zoll-Verein in Essen, Sophiensäle in Berlin. You toured with a performance installation that I would have loved to see. It was called Dance Box, and it was about intimacy. You toured in Germany, Switzerland, and in Austria, different festivals. And this year you showed, even in Corona times, or before Corona came up, you showed a show in Mannheim at the National Theatre. It was called Sprechen, is that right?
Sprechen.
Sprechen, yeah. Okay. And it was done for a young audience. And in February, you premiered the show Danseuse at How, and I was lucky to see it. And I would give you the word to talk about it.
Okay, good. Hi, I keep the time, it helps me. Okay, thank you for inviting me, and I can't believe that I sit here and talk at the Fachtag about dance and racism. Thank you, Funura, inviting, and Amelie. So I'm gonna start now. And I'm not a good speaker in English, so if you don't understand, we will figure out. Intro. Hello, my name is Tümay Kılınçel. I'm an artist for movement and work as a dance performer and as an artistic director in choreography and direction. My long-standing topic is the work on so-called Oriental dance, mostly also known as belly dance. Both terms coming from the colonizers, so it's a colonialist term. It is better to use Raksharki, Baladi dance, Ciftetelli. When I was doing research on so-called belly dance in 2010, 2018, 2019, I had many fears and questions which limited but also guided me. Fear. When I started my research, I was always afraid of reproducing exotic stereotyping, more precisely, racist, sexist images, or despite trying to counteract these images through my work, I feared that I could continue to be exoticized and racialized. As a person with a migration history, as a POC in Germany, I could not get rid of this fear, so that my first professional solo dance production was accompanied by it. And not just a performance of the so-called belly dance, but much more of one work of deconstructing these images and positioning myself to them. A long work process to get to the actual goal, the solo production as the opening act for the main act. On the one hand, that is a shame, because my initial goal was different, but on the same time, it was good that I missed the goal, since these racializing images are still very much present in the minds of the majority society, from entertainment to art and also in many culture institutes. So maybe I reached my goal after all. As a dance alumni in 2010, I had the impulse to do an artistic work that opposes these racism and sexism images, and my motive was the so-called belly dance. For me, it has a feminist potential, moves an anti-colonial and anti-sexist dance technique from the feminist perspective, and has a performative power that can enable togetherness on equal terms. Okay, questions. The topic raises questions and provides perspectives, above all to empower and detox society, in particular the art and culture landscape. What alternative name is there now? Or can a non-Eurocentric name be used for the so-called belly dance? Does this dance art have to be freed from the Eurocentric concepts? Or has it already freed itself from them? Does the so-called belly dance not belong in the European dance canon? Or why does this dance art, like many other dance styles, not appear in the German dance canon? Why don't you see them on the stages of Germany's dance culture landscape? And notation. Attention. From now on, I will use the term Rax, which means dance for the so-called belly dance or oriental dance. Empowerment. As a social dance, Rax has kept its place in society among people and is danced not only for people as an entertainment service, but with people. Therefore, this dance has an enormous performative power, that of togetherness at one eye level. The energy of the performative togetherness of audience and dancer, I was able to experience myself on my own body, and it was fun. I was able to experience how mutual support takes place and the roles of the audience the dancing people mix. Dance as intoxication and self-empowerment. Here in the words of the dancer Dina. I get high when I dance, and when I get the energy of the audience, that makes me even higher. Spaces, designation and canon. Spaces of empowerment. The Rax is not only present as a social dance. As dance art, it finds its own stage space through many committed artists inside who keep this art from alive at their own expense. In self-organized stage spaces, for example, by organizing festivals at their own risk, at their own expense. In Berlin's Muslim queer scene too, the dance style appears as a self-empowerment and has long since claimed its space in society and inserted itself in it. Hence my perhaps somewhat provocative question. After Paris is burning, now Berlin is burning? Commercial spaces. The Rax does not take place on the German cultural stages and must therefore see how it survives as an art form. It takes place mainly and almost exclusively in a commercial setting. This is how the dance survives, which is good on the one hand because the dancers can earn and exist through it. That means cash money. On the other hand, it remains so strongly dependent on the capitalist system of exploitation, whereby it simultaneously reproduces its capitalist, patriarchal, and colonial subordination and exploitation. It is commercialized in the film, music, tourism, and entertainment industries, but also in dance classes, studios, and festivals. That means the commercialized dance is orientalized and the performing body is othered, but at the same time it has to be commercialized in order to survive at all. Art and culture spaces. During my practical research into whether a new dance name is needed and whether something is missing in the European dance canons, I asked myself when I was visiting locations whether, During my practical research into whether a new dance name is needed and whether something is missing in the European dance canons, I asked myself when visiting locations whether the term belly dance and oriental dance, similar to bitch and kanake, had already empowered in some communities, and does the community still have the need to be included in the European dance canon and to find an alternative name? Yes, there is a need because it is about resources, so it is about money. The dance art form Raks is excluded from cultural support structures and system. It is necessary that necessary for the Raks community to be included in the German and European dance culture landscape, to develop an anti-colonialist vocabulary so that it can continue to develop as a serious dance style. It is necessary for the dance to develop further. It is necessary so that other bodies are not precarious and do not disappear under the category exotic box, as it is the case, for example, in music with the categorization world music and the remaining nothing. At the end, in this sense, it is a critical questioning of power structures like racism and privileges within dance history as well as in institutional dance rooms and in individual ones, dance groups. How can one create diversity in dance techniques and thus also in society as an individual group? Maybe that's an utopian idea, but I think it has potential in contemporary dance because contemporary dance claims to be political and socially critical. My motivation and work strategy as an artist is therefore to bring the Raks dance into European cultural landscape through my training in contemporary dance and with my work on the German high culture stage, thus to try to make a contribution to decolonization of that dance. There is some bonus, because I'm not good with talking, I'm better with other things. Sorry, I have to do this. Dance, 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 belly dance, oriental dances, oriental dreams, 1001 Nights, Arabian Princess, Prince Aladdin, Yasmin, Matahari, Salome, Oscar. Shh. Don't you know? The Orient doesn't exist. Don't you know what Sai told us? Don't you know? 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 No, no, no. You should know. 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 Know now that you live in a fairy tale full of whales, carpets, camels, and your dream. It's true. Your fairy tale can become true. Yes, it's true. Full of sweets, smells, stars, dreams. Yeah, and your dream. It's true. Your fairy tale can become true. Yes, it's true. Full of exotics, adventures, other bodies, stereotypes, etc. And a dream. It's true. Your fairy tale can become true. Yes, it's true. It's full of fantasy. It's full of imagination. It's full of projection. Let's break the limitation. Let's imagine utopia nation. No nation. No, 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 no. Let's make this dream come true. True, true, respect, 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 and your dream. It's true. Your fairy tale can become true. Yes, it's true. Yes. I'm under the time, so we have some plus
all
time.
All good, all good. Thank you very much for speaking and performing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
We take a deep breath and I move over to Zwoisy. You were raised in Jamaica. You moved to the US before you came to Germany. You are influenced by dance teachers like Nancy Stark-Smith and Kirsty Simpson. You showed your work at Haus, Sophiensäle, in New York, in Amsterdam, and in 2 weeks, who is interested to see Zwoisy on stage, you will perform in the show Post-Ost 2019, together with Rike Flämich and Anna Henschel in the Sophiensäle. So you're in the middle of rehearsals. Thanks for coming anyway. You collaborated with artists like Isabel Schad, Jule Flierl, and Susan Rehtorst. And when I read your CV on the homepage, I really liked the expression of you call yourself a choreographer of encounters. Maybe you referred to that in your speech. If not, you can make it for a talk during the break or something. Okay. When we met, you were also one of the interview partners. I was very lucky to talk to. We talked a lot about your show, Worn and Felt. And I give you the word.
Thank you. I'm also going to keep time. I'm a very wordy and chatty person, so that's I need some sort of limiter. So today when I received the invitation, I thought a lot for a very long time, even more time than I expected, about what I would share. And the ideas that I guess I want to put into the space is connected for me to community building, learning and practicing how to share resources, and also learning and practicing how to support yourself as well as others. These are kind of my guiding principles as I work as an artist. And to make it specific, I will talk about the work Worn and Felt and how that process was. Worn and Felt was a non-visual dance piece. Non-visual dance is a dance style that I've been developing since the beginning of my career, basically. It was inspired by coming from New York and being frustrated and not understanding conceptual art. I wasn't exposed to that before, and I was like, where's the sweat on the dancers' bodies? I don't understand this. So I put the task as a choreographer to myself of having a piece that's 100% physical for everyone, including the audience members, the dancers, everyone. And what that led to was a dance form that the performances take place in a pitch black room. The dancers are dancing, and the audience members, in order to witness the performance, are in physical contact with one of the performers, or sometimes, in the case of Worn and Felt, one of the performers. And originally, that was my goal, and after creating the first experiment, a friend of mine was like, oh, do you know that because you don't need to see anything, and if you're sighted, you can't see anything, and also a blind person could witness this dance performance. I've never experienced a dance performance that you could do that. And I was like, oh, that's true. Oh my gosh. And since then, I've collaborated a lot with artists that have a range of sight, both professional and non-professional. Which brings me to my relationship to understanding racism. For me, it's an intersectional understanding. I might be Black, but I'm also able-bodied. I might be Black, but I'm also middle class. And that has coded my education, that has coded my body, that has coded my thoughts, that has coded my entire existence. And the wonderful thing I find about being an artist is that there's collaboration that's at the center of what you do. And in that collaboration, I find a willingness to trust with who you choose to be a collaborator, and also a willingness to know that you're going to make mistakes. And there's a practice together with your collaborators of knowing what to do once you make mistakes. I'm going to say something ableist, and how can you forgive me in this process? Do you leave the project? Do we talk with one another? Do we play your favorite song and dance it out? And that for me is where the community building also starts, is choosing people who have a willingness with each other to build that trust and build this culture of, how do I make mistakes? Because it's gonna happen for the rest of my life. It used to be accidentally breaking my older brother's pencil, and now it's a bit more serious than that. But still, yeah, having this learning process of, how do I apologize for these things? How do you need me to apologize for these things? And that happens for aesthetic choices just as much as for logistical choices. And so for me, that creates an environment where I can dream, I can imagine, I can create, also with those persons and with this culture of mistakes and apologies and forgiveness and figuring out how to do that. There's a possibility of them also dreaming, them also creating, attempting to release the limiters, as Nora talked about in the beginning, like release the limiters of our emotional self or physical self or mental self, so that we can dream bigger, create new movements that we didn't do the piece before, the piece before, the piece before, or even yesterday in the rehearsal. And on the political level, that for me is also a practice of desegregation. Removing the, like, I mean, in Jamaica, like, black over there, white over there. When this mixing is happening, and how do we encourage it? And the prosperity that comes from it. It's exciting. I love eating Ethiopian food. I love hanging out with my Ethiopian friend in his kitchen. And what happens to my cooking because of that? It's a kind of abundance that I find rich for my artistic practice. Yeah. And kind of the other side of that coin is destabilization. The mistakes might be something that brings you back, but actually I think it's something that always constantly brings you forward. When you fall, you know, usually you're falling forward or back, but you're moving out of place. There's movement in that. And using that momentum that comes out of this failure, this accident, this unconscious, because of a patriarchy living in my brain, happening, how we can use that momentum of that failure to keep going forward. So it's exciting to me that I can use these mistakes and have people that are willing to be okay with the fact that I will never know all the discourses, no matter how many books I read. I will never know how to practice every single way of being sensitive. Maybe I'll be a little bit better in 2 years, but it's definitely not, I'm not there now. So it's exciting to be with people that also have this mindset and so build a community that really has a similar mindset to me, and that makes me feel comfortable. That also protects me. That also makes it possible that when I'm dealing with a Presseabteilung, a press office at a theater that says something racist, that I can freak out with one of my team members, and then they're like, what support do you need? Is it to take over the communication? I'm guessing it's that, but let me know what it is. And I'm like, yes, feel free to talk to this person. I'm gonna go rest. And through them also doing that with me, being like, okay, this ableist thing happened and I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from this. With your energy, can you take care of that? You know what I need. I told what you need. Can you take care of that? So that helps for me clarify this skill set of, what do I need? How do I feel safe? How do I create that environment? I can't dream when I'm in a box, locked in a box with like lots of horrible language coming at me. It's harder to dream for me. It's harder to create. So building that skill set with one another, with other people that are also doing that, I find feeds my both logistical frame as well as my creative frame, that there really is this overlap with one another constantly. And in terms of the body, how that bleeds in. As I said, my interest is racism. All my work I see as anti-racist projects with an intersectional perspective. With desire, this dream to be in a less segregated world in terms of class, gender, the whole shebang. And for my work, it's emotional work. When I hear something racist, I'm crying, I'm angry, I'm furious, you know, I'm screaming at them, I disassociate, I'm in shock. That's the first thing that happens with racism, is a feeling. And in Worn and Felt, that was my investigation. No matter who you are, what race you are, what life experience, racism there all around us, happening every time, in our ears, in our taste, in all the senses. It's happening. It's so ingrained that it's within all of our senses, in the body. And I find relating to those senses, relating to the body, allows access to whatever is happening to us personally with racism. So for Worn and Felt, I specifically, for example, chose a group that has many different genders, a range of genders, and a range of race, white, black, Hispanic, like biracial, so that when the audience came in, they would know, like, racism isn't a black thing. It's a white thing. It's an everybody thing. It's a Latina thing. It's a Latinx thing. We're all dealing with it. And where is it hiding? It's happening to us every day. I think most people agree with that. It's happening all the time. So where is it being stored, all of these memories? Whether something racist has happened to you, or you witness it, or you hear it, or you heard it from your parents and that's still stuck in you, where is it? And how do we process that? And that's, for me, where dance comes in. It's something collective. It's something that you don't have to do in an isolated room by yourself. You can do that. I have personal dance parties with myself all the time. But yeah, it's something that can be shared. It's something like, oh, you're having a bad day about this? Me too. For me, it's more shame, but maybe for you, it's more fear. And let's move through the space together with our own dealings with whatever is happening us. And let's extract that so it doesn't control us every day. It doesn't continue to be our limiter every day. It doesn't limit our imagination. It doesn't limit our creation. It doesn't limit how far we want to spread our body out into space. Mm-hmm.
Here, because I think
yes.
That would be a perfect last word.
Great. I'm under time, so that's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
For your impulse. It reminds me of what Nora said. That yes, thank you. It's yours.
Yeah.
I just had to think about this term that Nora used in her speech, that dance could be a rupture for racism. And not the other way around, but in this sense, yeah, and maybe this is what you're aiming at. And unfortunately, I couldn't see Worn and Felt, and I'm just witness.
It's no seeing.
Yeah, that's true, because
yeah,
I was just imagining when you told me about it, it's totally blind, so I go there, and then something is happening with me. And you don't see, or you didn't see who came in, or did you check the list of spectators before? Did you want to know who is coming?
No.
No.
No, they would just show up.
Did you see them afterwards? Because I was just about to ask, who was your audience?
many different people I didn't know. I don't know who they were. I guess the beginning of the piece is that everyone's in the foyer. I, as the host, kind of, and the performers come into the foyer. They get a warm towel, a warm damp towel to kind of, you know, you just came off of the U-Bahn. That's stressful. And then they're kind of, we together dedicate the piece to anyone each person wants. And then they're grouped and then go inside with one of the performers, grouped in groups of 5. No, grouped in groups of 4, 5 performers. And the performers, basically the score is ground yourself. Bring into your awareness the audience members that are physically with their hands connected to your body. What I call channeling other people or beings, plant beings, it doesn't have to be human, their pain. Move to create space for more of their pain. It can be one person or more. And then use your body as a tool to process that.
It sounds so unbelievable in Corona times, you know, because it sounds like being so close. And
you're very, I mean, the farthest you can be is, I guess, you're like fingertipped. Yeah, and the only disruption of that was in the middle that the performers whisper super silently that you kind of hear just the parting of the lips, and eventually they whisper so you understand lots of German and English, US English and UK English racist terms. Yeah, that's kind of the middle point. And then there's a break and the rage, the fear, the shame is released into their body in shaking, and the practice is to find your way through that movement and experience and feelings towards joy or gratitude or bliss or peacefulness or whatever, wherever they want to move to. And in the end, the audience can come out to the foyer again and drink some really nice tea and talk or not talk or just sit together with me. Yeah, and some people talk, some people don't. Some people are, you know, we're terrified of having access to a black woman's body with their hand for 45 minutes, and they thought they were a white, probably like early 30s white male presenting person, and they were like, I'm just, you know, I try to be really nice about, you know, politically correct, and, you know, I'm touching, I don't think I'm, and then her hair like grazed me and I'm not supposed to touch that. And it was like, you know, like these moments happen where it's like, there's these codes that I'm trying to be respectful, but we're in the dark. And then of course, she turned her hair and then it brushed me, but then I took my hand off, but then I didn't know where I was, so I had to put my hand back out, and that was the process that came out afterwards.
Yeah, and I think we all deal with maybe smaller situations like that, where you ask yourself, how can I react to this? For example, I felt very relieved when I heard that you do a show about belly dance, and how immediately I had exotic images in my head, and I thought, oh, I see a belly dance show tonight. And then what you did, you didn't fulfill any expectation I had, but I think you also did something that maybe could be a common aspect of your work, that both of you aim at a kind of transformation. You even say we need to transform the old word belly dance into a new one, so that it's free from all the associations. And also in your work, it's about transformation. It's about this, what do I feel? Am I allowed into what you say, joy? Having a tea together in the end, and maybe sharing what was my transformation. So I guess these are very emotional processes, and I think it's beautiful that dance and art can offer this. And me as a mediator, working for the field of dance for a young audience, I feel, Okay, then it is also my task after a show to create an after talk where I can create a space, a safe space where we share these impressions and maybe the outcome of this transformation. Okay, thank you very much, both of you, for session number 1. Great applause for you.